Item model groups are an important part of configuring product for stock, inventory management, and accounting. Item model groups contain settings that determine how items are controlled and handled upon item receipt and issue. Item model groups determine the following stock and inventory policies: whether the product is stocked or not stocked, the cost flow assumption and cost measurement method for valuing inventory of stocked products, if physical and financial negative inventory is permitted, if inventory transactions should be posted to the general ledger, and the workflow that is used when you send or receive items, as well as the reservation rules. Let's take a look at an item model group in AX. Item model groups are found in the Inventory Management module with the item groups underneath Setup, Inventory, and then Item Model Groups. At least one item model group must be created in each legal entity. We'll take a look at a few different examples. I'll highlight the FIFO one as our first example. You'll notice the stocked product checkbox here. This is the checkbox that indicates whether the item will be stocked or not stocked. When the checkbox is cleared, that indicates that the product will be not stocked and no on-hand inventory will be tracked. If we highlight the expense products as an example, you'll notice this checkbox is disabled. When this checkbox is disabled or not checked, many settings are defaulted and cannot be changed. You'll notice the physical and financial negative inventory, as well as many of the reservation, warehouse management, and ledger integration checkboxes become disabled. Let's go back to the FIFO one. In the negative inventory group, there are two checkboxes to control whether or not physical and financial negative inventory will be allowed. In most cases, physical negative inventory is not recommended. This means that AX can say that you have negative items available in your warehouse. In certain situations, for example, a retail store, you might want to allow this setting to be turned on, which will prevent an error from occurring if a customer were to bring an item to your register that is not available in your system. Other operational requirements might also require that you mark this checkbox. The financial negative inventory checkbox is typical in many scenarios. Depending on your country, region, or business requirements, you might want to consider not allowing physical negative inventory. Financial negative inventory occurs when a sales order is sold for an item and the physical update of the receipt, such as a purchase order, is not completed. So, for example, if I received a purchase order for 100 t-shirts and then I did not invoice that sales or that purchase order because I did not receive the invoice from the vendor yet, then I tried to sell all 100 of those items on a sales order, I would receive an error message when trying to invoice update that sales order because those items are not physically and financially updated. The next section of fields are for warehouse management. There's a checkbox for quarantine management and the consolidated picking method. We'll discuss these more later in other chapters. The next section is ledger integration. You'll notice that the post-physical and post-financial checkboxes are selected. If you do not wish to post physical transactions to the inventory, then no accruals can be recorded for purchase orders or sales orders. By marking this checkbox, you can control whether or not the accrual will be posted by an additional checkbox that can be found in accounts receivable or accounts payable. There are additional checkboxes to determine whether or not you want to post deferred revenue on sales orders and whether or not you want to accrue liability on a product receipt. Several checkboxes in the physical update control the process flow. For example, if you mark the receiving requirements checkbox, a product receipt on a purchase order must be posted before you can post an invoice. We'll discuss these more later in the purchase order and sales order modules. Many settings are available for reservation as well. These settings will be discussed in more detail in the reservations module in the Distribution and Trade course in Microsoft Dynamics AX 2012 R3. Down on the very bottom, we're going to go to the Inventory Model tab and take a look at the inventory models. This is very important. This is what controls how costing will work for a particular item. You'll notice that my FIFO item model group is linked to the FIFO costing methodology. This means that items will be costed during the inventory close process by using first in, first out. You'll notice there are many other options available, such as LIFO, weighted average, standard cost, and moving average. For more information about how these calculations work, you can refer to the Inventory Costing Hands-on Lab. The last two checkboxes are for Include Physical Value and Fixed Receipt Price. These contribute to how the costing methodology will work. Again, for more information, you can refer to the Inventory Costing Hands-on Lab.